Hello, and welcome back to the Heart Artistry Podcast. This week I have something very special and very much from the bottom of my heart to yours that I am presenting you with this week. Now, this is a series that I actually recorded as a private podcast series, and I intended for it to be private all the way up until this morning, today, Monday, April 27th. And I got this really intuitive nudge that this needs to be sent out into the world. So this is the Unfiltered Heart series. This is a series of videos that I recorded. Yes, it's about the mastermind. It is about the mastermind and it's focused on the mastermind. However, it really is more about mentorship. It's about mentorship. It's about power. It's about responsibility. It's about who you're becoming. It's about identity. It is a conversation about entering a mastermind. It's not necessarily about Magic Mind, because Magic Mind has an entire sales page. You will know if you're drawn into being in a mastermind with me. It's not about going over what happens inside the mastermind. It's about what happens when you enter mentorship. It's about how I see mentorship. It's about how I see leadership and self-leadership and power and taking accountability and responsibility and staying within the commitments and contracts that we've signed and decided. It's about our power and who we're becoming. It's about all of the unspoken conversations behind mentorship that I have not shared in any capacity anywhere else. And I felt like this is the perfect place for me to be able to share this with all of you here on the podcast. Which is funny because, a lot of you know this. I'm a line 3 in human design, and the line 3 is just really great at learning from mistakes. And I don't just mean like you learn from your past mistakes when you were younger or when you were a kid or when you were a teenager that didn't know better. The way my line 3 shows up in leadership is I am teaching and showing up through my mistakes consistently. And sometimes I have to make a move in order for me to see, and my daughter hates this, especially when we're driving and I take the wrong route, or I decide I want to go somewhere and then I change my mind and I'm like, actually, I had to start moving towards that direction in order to course correct, because otherwise I wouldn't have known, right? And so I created this as a private podcast, and everything is set up for it. There's the link is still live. Like, it's still there as a workflow. It's still there as a private podcast. However, this morning, it just felt correct. It just felt right that I pivoted from a private podcast and put it on this very public podcast. And maybe I'll know at some point, and maybe one of you will reach out and tell me, like, Tiffany, this is the exact conversation I needed to hear today. And maybe I won't know, and maybe I'll never find out. But this is the intuitive move that I felt that I needed to do. So here you go. This is the first video of the Unfiltered Heart series. You'll hear me talk about it in just a moment, but I felt the pull to record this and sit down, and it really came to me very much on a whim. It just came through in a very powerful way where I had to sit down, I had to record, I had to say these things, and you will know if you are meant to be in the mastermind after these videos. There are 3 videos. The first one's going to drop today. The second one is going to drop tomorrow, which is Tuesday. And the third one is going to drop on the 29th of April, which is a Wednesday. And these are very raw, unfiltered conversations about mentorship and about being in the mastermind, about being a mentor, about someone who's a mentor and being mentored in the same regard, the mirrors of mentorship. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about not the investment, but the cost, the spiritual, energetic cost of not being in a space, of not going big, of not saying yes to your heart and your dreams, and what that costs you across a lifetime. And I'm really excited for you to access that conversation tomorrow. So enjoy today, enjoy the mirrors of mentorship, enjoy this conversation. And if you would like to watch the video, there are videos for each one of these. Obviously, you're getting access to the podcast audios for these episodes, but if you would like to access the videos, they will be in the show notes. And I will leave you to it. Enjoy. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts afterwards. Hello, and welcome to the Unfiltered Heart playlist. I am coming here unfiltered, no makeup on. It just felt right. And this is my morning warm cup of water because I grew up with Chinese medicine. And I just want to talk to you. I thought of so many different things that I could do for this, for leading up to the Magic Mind launch. I have done wait lists in very fun ways. I believe I did a private podcast once a while ago. I've done email series leading up to the Magic Mind launch. And if you're not even here for the Magic Mind launch, that's all right as well. But something came through for me this morning, literally as I woke up this morning, and it was like, why don't you bring some of these conversations that you've been having in your own mind with your clients into this space so that the people who are thinking about working with me in the closest proximity can actually feel my heart. And then something else dropped in. So three things. That was the first one. Another thing dropped in was do it right now. I went to go and sit on my couch because I normally like to sit on my couch and open up my emails and respond to my DMs and kind of get started, create content for the morning. That's how I like to start my mornings, is with this over there on the couch. This being on this desk just feels very like, now I have to work. So I just like being on the couch and just have the laptop actually on my lap. So anyway, the second thing was like, go and do it right now. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I can put on, and it was like, nope, no makeup, nothing, just exactly as you are, sit down, plop down right here, record the video, go. And I was like, okay, all right. So here I am. And then the third thing, and just as I hit record, was what am I going to call this? I don't even know how am I going to intro this? I don't have a name, and it instantly Unfiltered Heart. The brand name that I now go by is Heart Artistry. It was Tiffany Chung for a really long time, and now it's Heart Artistry. And there's a whole reason behind that I'm not going to get into, but really it's the artistry of your heart. It's why you're here. It's who you are, and it's the way in which you do it. It's your magic. And we're here to talk about Magic Mind, even though we're not going to talk that much about Magic Mind because there's a lot of things I want to say in these videos. But we'll talk about Magic Mind. Absolutely. But there are things that I want to say. There are things I want to say about coaching and the industry and conscious leadership and leading with your heart and projections and wounds and shadows in business and being women who lead businesses and making money and the truth and raw, unfiltered heart conversations behind all of this that I believe is valuable to bring forward. And that's what I want to do. I want it to be very unfiltered, raw conversation. So the third thing that dropped in was behind a magic mind, which is obviously the name of my mastermind. Behind a magic mind, there is an unfiltered heart. And when that dropped in, I was like, whoa. And as soon as that dropped in, I was like, let's hit record. I'm ready. And I don't always hear things as clearly like that. Oftentimes I'm a feely person, so I feel something and I'm like, ooh, this, ooh, that. I'm sacral. I'm a sacral generator. But this was loud and clear. I felt like it was from God himself. behind a magic mind is an unfiltered heart. And that almost makes me a little emotional because this is what I desire and what I enjoy the most about this space inside the mastermind is for us to be unfiltered, to not think about what you have to say in case, like, oh my goodness, what if someone wants to hire me in the future? Or what if someone thinks this about me and now thinks less of me because of what I'm going through? Or what if, I was on a winning streak and now I'm not doing quite so hot? And what if people think that I'm just not good enough anymore, right? Like I want the mastermind in my space to be the unfiltered the unfiltered space, the unfiltered area in which we can all come and be the most unfiltered versions of ourselves. And so, as this idea dropped in this morning, it was like, well, if I'm asking everyone to be so unfiltered, how can I be the most unfiltered version of me? So, that's what this playlist is really going to be about. That's what this series is going to be about. And I'm going to bring in some really valuable conversations. And by the end of it, my intention is for you to either be like, this is my person, and I have been looking for, I don't know how long for you, and maybe I didn't even know I was looking, and I want to be in your world. And so either you join the mastermind right away, maybe it's something that you join later down the line. Or maybe you get to the end of the series or halfway through the series and you're like, this actually isn't for me. And you know what? All of that is beautiful because it just brings you back to your truth. And I desire people in the mastermind who are like, I really want to be a part of this mastermind. I really want to be a part of this space, not just necessarily like yes to be mentored by Tiffany, but also because of this like the energy of the mastermind itself and the container in which has been created, right? So I will talk about the mastermind. All of what you need to know is on the sales page. And honestly, when you join a mastermind, I rarely read sales pages when I join a mastermind. It's not a program, it's not a course. It's not like a guide. You're like, oh, what's on this guide? Okay, you got this, or I get this PDF, I get this. Like that's not what a mastermind is. It really is a space where you come in and you get close proximity, high touch mentorship by someone that you really want to do life with. And you want to be surrounded by people who are like the best people because not because they're the best like in a hierarchical sense, but they're just the best in the sense, and maybe I'm biased as well, right? Because I love the women in my mastermind. But what I really mean is like these are women that have chosen to invest in themselves and in their future, and they're creating generational wealth for kids that they don't even have yet. And they're all in on a business with no guarantees. And they have come from all different kinds of backgrounds. And most of them are daughters of immigrants and women of color, and they're just coming or first gen or they identify as being like kind of the odd one out in their family. They never felt like they really belonged. They never felt like the school system was really for them. And then neither was the 9 to 5. And now they're here creating and building and actively growing something that is the purpose of their heart. And you're in a room with those women that have also decided to invest 5 figures into themselves, right? Like that is a curated room if I've ever heard of one. And so today, I want to talk about what can arise in a space like this and really what comes through in mastermind settings. But I also want to talk about how we get to lead the industry as women as a whole. right? Because right now is the his in history, historically right now we have more women running businesses than ever before. And I want my desire, my heart behind what I do and how I lead and the conversations that I want to have about leadership is I want there to be such a strong representation of leadership in the coaching industry and also by women. Because I do believe that the coaching industry and us as coaches, specifically as coaches and mentors, we have, we've created this kind of like we've created a lot of different values and philosophies as as a coach and as being a mentor inside this industry. And I feel like over the years, there's been like kind of like a bad rap that's been created where people see the coaching industry and they think about, they think about all of these different things that don't actually represent the coaching industry, like people um, not getting their deliverables, or there being all of this talk about like, people not being able to fulfill their contracts, right? Or people like dipping out and just kind of a lot of people playing business, but not actually seeing that their words and their actions hold deep influence. And I do think that's a very human thing, right? And again, I'm thinking about the coaching industry as a general, in general, as kind of this being, right? And I think what I want to shift and how I want to lead is I want it to be such, I want it to come from such a conscious and intentional place that I lead my clients. And even though there are projections and triggers and wounds that come up within spaces, because that's just kind of inevitable. We're humans and we're put in a room with other high performing, successful humans. We're gonna experience triggers, right? And especially in a mastermind space. It's like you might be triggered by your mentor, might be triggered by your peers, might be triggered by you're comparing yourself to somebody else online, might be like there's just so many thoughts. And what I would love to be as a leader is someone who can model continuing, leaning in, alchemization of the shadows, and going like doubling down again, even when it feels challenging and hard. Because I really do believe, especially in a mastermind space, in other spaces as well, but especially in a mastermind space, this is meant to push you. It's meant to make you uncomfortable. It is meant to kind of lean you up against your very own edges that you didn't even know existed. And our first instinct is to run and protect ourselves. So when there are wounds, when there are triggers, when there are things that show up inside a space, we want to flee. And there's a reason why spaces like masterminds and spaces like one-on-ones and different containers and programs, unless you're in like a cancel anytime kind of membership, right? Unless you're in some kind of a subscription like that, you sign a contract to be there for 6 months or a year or somewhere in between. And one of the most powerful things that we do, both physically and technically and realistically by signing the contract and energetically, heart-wise, is you enter a space where no matter what happens, I still see you as the biggest version of yourself. And what I'm really proud of modeling inside this mastermind is even when there have been kinks and uncomfortable conversations between me and a client, that I am always seeing them as the best version of themselves. And the reason that we don't break contracts inside the coaching industry and in general in these coach client relationships is because how easy would it be if mentor signs the contract, client signs the contract, let's work together for 1 full year, we're both in. It's kind of like a marriage a little bit. It's like we are going to be together, right? And the payments are going to be continued throughout the entirety of the time, and you are going to be inside the space. And how how loosey-goosey would it be if it was like, oh, the moment you hit a roadblock and things feel really hard and challenging and you face yourself, you want to leave and break the contract. But the mentor is still holding you and still sees the biggest version of you no matter what. And this is a powerful sentiment coming into this conversation and the coaching industry, and really what I've seen and experienced having been in a handful of masterminds at this point, like one, two, three, four, five, like 5 or 6 masterminds at this point. And some of them I've been in for multiple rounds because I love doing that. But this is what I'm seeing is like you have a mentor that continues to hold you and see you. But the moment you're like, "Ooh, I don't like this. This doesn't feel good. I don't feel safe." There is such a overestimation and emphasis on feeling safe. Safety will not make you grow. Safety will not ever make you grow. My spaces are not marketed to be safe spaces. I believe that you are an intelligent, intuitive human being and you can create safety. You know how to do that. If you need safety, you can go and create it. You know who to call. You know what practices to use. You know how to run a bath. You know how to create safety. You know how to regulate yourself, right? And that's not to say that I am not extremely loving and warm and able to hold you. Like one of my clients said that I am able to be like the warm and sensitive mentor that's like able to be there with you and cry with you and hold you in like the darkest of the dark. But then when it's go time and it's time for you to move and see who you are, I will also give you that kick in the pants to remind you who the fuck you are and who you came here to be in this lifetime. Because I'm not going to put up with some bullshit of like, you feel like you're not good enough and you feel like you're not worthy enough. Like, I am here to exist as a permission slip for you. And a lot of that, and actually what's happening right now energetically, which is why this series is genius. Thank you. Thank you for this idea. This morning, literally this morning, like an hour ago. No, not even an hour ago, like half an hour ago. You aren't just hearing what I'm saying. I'm an energetic being. We all are. You are, right? My guess is that you are energetic, you're intuitive. It's the way in which you run your business. My guess is also that you you have these ways that you think that you should be running your business and different rules and strategies that you feel like you should be following, but you are an energetic, intuitive person, and that is how you want to run your world. And it is the way that you experience things, and it's the way that you enter spaces, it's the way that you enter containers, and you actually believe that just being in the vibes and being in the energy is is it for you. And I'm the exact same way. And so what's happening right now is, yes, you're listening to what I'm saying, but you're also feeling energetically how this feels, right? You are also tuned into that. So oftentimes when I speak, it's not so much a like, let me write this down to come back to it because I don't want to forget it. It's like, can you let your body just absorb what you are experiencing and what you're picking up on energetically? Can you let that be what anchors you in? So that when you're tuning into the series and you're tuning into what I'm saying, it's not so much what I'm saying, it's how you experience it energetically. And that's really powerful because there are spaces that I've entered where I see that there are people who try to make the most of it and try to get whatever they can get out of the space. And I really believe that just being there, being here energetically, you are getting everything that you could ever need. And it's not out of like, oh my goodness, I need to soak up everything in order for it to be worth it, in order for me to have earned like in order for me to have gotten my money's worth. I have to do everything. And that's another reason why I made the mastermind a year long, was because I wanted there to be a space that you come for an entire year where your nervous system just relaxes. You don't have to worry about soaking everything up within 6 months because that goes by like that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to try to consume all of my courses and programs and get all the coaching calls you need and get it all done within a matter of months. I want you to have an entire year inside this space. And there are women that are on their second year. Most of them are on their second year as alumni. And then I have one who's on her third year. And so inside the space, it isn't just let me consume, let me consume. It is let me enter the space and see who I become. Because this decision alone is monumental, right? And going back to the mentor-mentee relationship, I do believe that there is a level of projection that can be experienced on on all ends, I would say, but it's very quick for, in general, in the industry, from what I've seen and how I want to lead differently, is for us to pin somebody, and this is not just within the industry. We see this play out a lot, but this is very much human behavior before conscious awakening, is the victim villain paradigm, where if you don't like something or something feels uncomfortable and there's shadows involved and there's shadows around money involved and there's shadows around, well, I thought that maybe this mentor would be able to guide me and support me. So the energy in which you enter spaces are so valuable. They're so valuable because they set the tone. right? And you and I myself have not always nailed it in picking up on the energy in which somebody is entering a space in. And that's taught me a lot. And it's also allowed me to have very honest and unfiltered conversations with clients who do tell me up front, I joined this space and it wasn't in completely clean energy, but I want to shift that. And I did put you on a pedestal, but I want to shift that. And you did trigger me, and I've been alchemizing that, right? And as a mentor, and I believe this conversation is so valuable because most of you have a mentor, or I'm your mentor, or maybe you desire for me to be your mentor, or maybe you desire someone else to be your mentor, but you're also a mentor as well. So this conversation works both for the person that is mentoring you and your own leadership as a mentor, because everything is a mirror. This is the mirror of mentorship. It's probably what I'm going to call this episode. The mirror of mentorship, because it really is a mirror. And when I say it is a mirror, there are things that have occurred in the way that you approach mentorship that you are going to see in return from your clients. So your leadership, it can't just be about you. Your leadership and the way you lead yourself has to be, how do I want this? Because I was saying this to a client. If I'm the only representation someone has of the coaching industry, I better do a damn good job. I better do a damn good job. If I am the first, if I am the first mentor, let's say in like the chamber that someone's hired, if I am the first, if I'm the only mentor that a friend or a colleague knows about and they don't know anything about the coaching industry and they don't know anything about how things work in our world as mentors and as coaches, I better be the most conscious leader if I am representing, if what I do and my decisions and how I navigate hard conversations and hard situations with my clients, right? And going back to like not breaking contracts, is there a way in which we can have this conversation where I can bring you back to your power and hold space for the projections that you might have towards me? And if I need to be someone that you make a villain for a short period of time, but then maybe I also support you in alchemizing that so that you're not the victim and I'm not the villain, and you're not the villain and I'm not the victim, that we are just two equal people, like we have equal power. You're in your power, I'm in my power, you're in your magic, I'm in my magic, you're in your leadership, and I'm in my leadership. And it's not like this, and it's not like this. It's this. Equal power, equal power. No hierarchy, equal power. Can that be the way that we mentor? Can that be the way that we invest in mentorship? Where it's not about this person has something that I don't have and they're gonna give it to me when I invest in them. So gimme, 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 gimme. Please. Like it can't just be, it can't be us looking up at someone on a pedestal and going like, oh, wow, you just dropped from the sky and you're perfect and you're cool and you dress nice. And I hope that I'm going to turn out like you if I invest $20,000. Where's my transformation? Where is it? Where is it? It can't be that. And I have seen that in a lot of the spaces that I've been in. And you know what? Some of the biggest ways in which I have grown and led myself is through being in spaces where I watch the leader come back from what feels like an impossible thing. I've been in two different masterminds where the leader was actively, during that time, in real time, getting publicly canceled and dragged on the internet, Reddit threads, public stories, posts, just like the works, and watching themselves lead throughout that is a masterclass in itself. It's like that I got my money's worth just by watching that happen, and I didn't even have a conversation with them. That's powerful. That's power. That's seeing someone in their power. So we're taught this very traditional, like someone's on a pedestal, I have to listen to very like teacher student. This is what we're taught in class. You listen to the teacher, you listen to your parents, you look up to your parents, you look up to your teachers, you look up to your pastors, you look up to these people. They tell you what to do because they know better than you, and you better listen. This is our conditioning. This is not something to shame ourselves about. This is our human conditioning. So when we come into mentorship, this like pedestaling has to stop on all accounts because we'll pedestalize money, we'll pedestalize our mentors, we'll pedestalize certain ways of doing business, we will pedestalize certain leaders and certain business models and certain offers and certain specific things based on what other people have done, based on traditional conditioning, and based on what we know to be correct. We have to bring all of that down. This is the depedestalization game. And I believe that a mastermind teaches you that through kind of, for lack of better visual, kind of tossing you around a little bit. Like you join a mastermind and you're like, oh my goodness. Oh, okay, these people are making more money than me. Oh, okay, this person over here is doing really well. Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I want, and it's not here for me yet. Oh, okay. Okay, and then there's my mentor who's doing this and this and this, and you pedestal. Oh, and then she teaches this thing, and maybe I should try to run my business exactly like her. And I've been there. I have tried to replicate my business like my mentors. I did that for I would say the first several years of my business in some way or another. Not exactly, but like, oh, they have this. Okay, maybe I can create something similar in my own way. Oh, this is working really well for them. Okay. And to a certain extent, that's actually really valuable. But when you're comparing your year 2 to your mentor's year 10, and they're marketing in a completely different way, and they've gone through all these hurdles, and they've put in the 10,000 more reps than you did not see because you were a fetus and did not start your business yet, and you're comparing yourself to where they are now and trying to figure out and trying to figure out why you need to have the coughing fits off camera. You're trying to figure out why you're not there yet. You're trying to figure out why it's not happening for you yet, right? So here is the mirror. This is the mirror of mentorship. Like this is truly, and that's like such a good way of explaining it because we are constantly being mirrored from our clients. And we are also seeing mirrors with our mentors, and they are seeing mirrors with their mentors. It's such a mirror, it's such a mirror game. And so when we're the kind of person, and this also gets mirrored into our sales, by the way, if we're people that are constantly asking for links but never buy anything, right? Or if we're the kind of people, or we don't close up the loop, right? Or if we're the kind of people that, this is a funny one. I used to be the person that would buy things on like the last day. If it was like an open cart launch, I would be buying in the last like 10 minutes. Um, not on purpose all the time. Sometimes I literally forget about it until I see that like final hours email. And I'm like, oh wait, I really did want to join. Get me in. Um, and sometimes it would just be like, let me think, let me think, let me think. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I get to the end. And I saw that mirrored back to me in my launches where I would see like some people would buy in the beginning and then it would be like crickets, 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 crickets. And then everyone would buy at the end. And I'm like, whoa, that's interesting. And then I became the person that bought as soon as I saw it and I knew I wanted it. And then people became my clients became people who saw my offers and bought as soon as they wanted it. And then this is a great one. This is one that you can take and implement right away. I just became this person. I think I've always been this way, actually. Maybe not in the very beginning of my business because I was a little bit more in survival mode, but I've always been the person that's like so excited to pay my coaches and really excited to like just pay for things. Like I actually enjoy paying for rent. I'm so grateful that I get to live in this beautiful home. I love paying my assistant. It's just such a so valuable, right? And I love paying my mentors because I know that every time I pay them, every time that money, I actually know the exact dates that it comes out. And then I just get to be in gratitude for them, and sometimes like you get to say to your mentors, like, thank you, thank you, thank you. I get to pay you today. Thank you, And it's like that is an exciting thing. And there have been times where I've invested $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 um, into spaces, into masterminds, into working with coaches. And I get really excited and I actually do a whole ritual. I do a dance and I play the song Money by Lisa and I just like dance around the room. And then I hit purchase in the middle of the song, and I just have like this great excitement. And then people started telling me, I'm so excited to pay you. I have $10,000 waiting for you. Like people literally used to say that all the time, and they still do here and there. But during this time, like when my mastermind was $10,000, they'd be like, I have $10,000 waiting for you. I'm like, oh my God. I still remember getting a couple messages like that because it was just such a physical manifestation of what I was calling in. But this is really it. Like everything's a mirror. Everything in general is a mirror. But I feel like the mirror of mentorship and the mirror of being a mentor, having a mentor, having clients that you're mentoring, and the way in which you're leading yourself, the way in which you are allowing yourself to lead and be led, to lead others, to lead yourself, and to be led, the trifecta, the Holy Trinity, is all one big mirror maze. And so when you can understand that and you know that, and that's clear to you, then you get to look at where are my own shadows within this? Where have I pedestalized my mentors? Where have I felt like I needed to be perfect and pedestalized? How can I bring that down? Who do I become when I don't feel like I need to keep up with this perfect facade? Who do I become? Because I know that when people try to pedestalize me and they think that my way is the way, or they think that like, they assume that what I do is perfect and I am just the furthest from perfect, or they think that I have it figured out and so therefore I have the answers for them. The best way to actually join a mastermind is to be in your own power and to see your mentor in their power. And you have your magic and you have the ability to listen to your internal guidance, and that's actually your guiding force. But your mentor is also able to guide you back to yourself and be able to reveal blind spots to you and be able to teach and mentor you in a way that is like your higher selves working together, like your higher self and your mentor's higher self, and something comes through in these open channels when you're talking back and forth because you're in your power and because your mentor is in her power. And that's the beautiful mirror. Instead of like, tell me what to do. You're above me. You should have all the answers. Okay, I'm going to go and try it. It didn't work. It's your fault. Why'd you tell me to do that? It didn't work. It kind of sounds, it sounds like our wounded little child, right? You told me you would give me that and you didn't, and that's mean. Why didn't you do that? You hurt my feelings. You're bad. I'm not going to play with you anymore. That's what it sounds like. It's like the same thing when we're in romantic relationships. Like, why did you like that other girl's picture? Do you not love me anymore? What does that mean about me? Right? And it's like, we get to laugh at this because it's just like, we're human. We're human. Like, none of this needs to be so serious. We're human. This is like, we're all trapped in the human condition, right? And that's why it's like, even for the clients that have, that have left my spaces and that have things to say about me or have pedestalized me or have put me like they've put things on me and made me the villain because I had to be the villain for them. And I had to be the villain for them because it was it was easier to do that than to look at their own part, because I believe that one of the most beautiful things we get to do as mentors is continue to see our clients as the biggest versions of themselves. So even with clients that have left my spaces for whatever reason, right? Whether they were complete or whether they like painted me the villain for whatever thing. And there's a lot of accountability that I take, sometimes to like a detriment, where I'm like, I create all of this, right? Because everything's a mirror. And I just see that all the time. Everything's a mirror. So if something is happening, it's like, oh, what can I do about this? It has to be me. Something is happening and I must have created this and attracted this. But I also do think that there is a layer, because it is such a mirror and because we're all connected and all entangled in this kind of collective spaghetti. The oh, the cosmic spaghetti. But I feel like the way in which this shows up, it's almost like if I needed to be the villain, so be it. So be it. Like if I needed to be the villain for them to like, because at that point it's like what can I do, right? But my hope is that we don't paint people as the villain, because that means that if there's a villain, then there's a victim. And I never see anyone in their victim. And I don't choose to see myself in the victim either, right? You can take accountability and not be the victim or the villain, and you can just choose to lead consciously. And I believe that that's what we're here to do. Is like when we release the victim and we release the villain, what are we left with? Our own emotions. We're left with our own emotions. We're left with having to lead ourselves and realizing that investing in a mentor doesn't mean that your life is now poof going to turn into this dreamscape Barbie land fantasy world where now butlers are handing you grapes on a silver platter and you're living in your mansion that has 20 bedrooms and everything in your life is perfectly fixed now. But it's nice to dream that. And I think in some way it's human to dream that. But I think when we can shift this, right? And that's obviously like a dramatic example. But when we can shift it from like, I think this person has the missing key and the missing magic strategy or the missing energetic thing to give me what I need in order for me to be successful. I think they have the missing puzzle piece. And if I invest, then they'll give it to me and I'll plug it in and everything will be good. But it isn't that way. And I think that we think this with money and we pedestalize money. Once I get to $20,000 months, everything in my life will just be rainbows and sunshines and there'll be unicorns floating around pooping glitter all over the place and I'll just get to bathe in it and I will just be everything will be fixed. But then you get to 20K months and you're like, "Oh, oh, everything's just exactly the same. Okay, okay, all right. Okay, all my problems that I had before, they're still there. Now I have more responsibility. And okay, you know what? Scratch that. Maybe everything I want is at $40,000 months. You know what? $40,000 months is just going to heal me, baby. It's going to heal me. Just you watch." And then you get to $40,000 months and you're like, "Oh, yay." And then we do this thing again and again and again where it's like, well, if I'm making that much money, I have to be happy. Everything has to be in order. I would be able to just, but you know what? It's the people who have money that say that money can't buy you happiness. It's the people who have money that say that. Because when you don't have the money and you think that you put it on a pedestal and you think it's going to save everything, you think it's going to save everything. You think that it's going to save you. You think the mentor is going to come and save you. You think that that launch, that one missing thing is going to come and save you. And I love you, and no one's going to come and save you. And I want that to land with you. If that makes you angry, and if that makes you angry at me, and if that makes you frustrated, sit with those emotions. Can we learn to sit with our emotions without painting anyone as the villain and without making ourselves the victim? Instead of like, I'm hurting, so it has to be you, right? Because that's what I see in this mirror game that I've been talking about. It's like, I don't like this feeling, so it has to be your fault. And it's your fault, and that's the end, period. Thank you, goodbye. When we make it, I'm hurting, and I'm going to process the hurt. I'm hurting, and I'm going to just sit with myself for a moment. I'm hurting, but no one needs to hang for it. I'm hurting, but I'm not going to go into self-blame, and I'm also not going to blame someone else. I'm hurting. I'm just going to sit with the hurt because I can create safety around my own emotions. I can create safety, and I trust you to create safety around your emotions without making it about vengeance and making it about villainhood and making it about blaming and attacking and smear campaigns. Like, this is why we see Reddit threads about mentors and public posts about coaches, is because it's like, well, they need to be, someone needs to be like hanged for this. Someone needs to be someone needs to be the villain for this. There needs to be like some kind of energetic like justice for this. Someone needs to like pay for this. And when we can step out of that, then we're left with our own feelings of like, I'm hurt. I'm just, I'm just hurt. It's not you hurt me and you need to change and you need to, it's I'm hurt. I'm hurt and I'm going to process it and it might take me a little bit, but I'll be okay. I'm going to go and process it. And if we can do this in our relationships as well, where it's not like you did this and you need to change and you always do this, it's you hurt me and I forgive you. And now I need to go and process my hurt. Forgiving you doesn't just automatically process it. I have to go and right around Chinese New Year, I wrote a lot of these forgiveness letters. And when I wrote them, it 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 actually brought up more pain. Forgiving someone doesn't automatically make you poof, feel better. It just means that you've released them. And now when you've released the hold of making someone the bad guy and you release, you're left with your own emotions. And now you have to just process those emotions. And that doesn't feel good, but it also doesn't last. So you get to create safety around it and just remind yourself that you're okay and you're safe and you can process these emotions and you can also let the other person go. What if there were no bad guys and good guys? We're all experiencing the human condition. And what you felt like was so wrong might have been the best that somebody could have given you at that time. And maybe there's a piece of them that still feels badly about the way that they treated you. Or maybe they cover it up with saying that they don't feel anything at all because they're not willing to meet themselves there. But even more reason to forgive them and let them go if they can't even admit to their own ways of hurting you. And so these are the mirrors in relationship. This isn't just about mentorship. This is the mirrors that we have as humans in relation to one another. The triggers and the projections and the shadows and the pains and the wounds and how all of this comes into fruition because this is kind of what we signed up for, isn't it? It's kind of what we signed up for. And because we signed up for this, it means there's something here for us. It means that we're not just meant to come up against pain and run the other way. It's one of the reasons I don't let my clients break their contracts is because if halfway through you're having a shitty time and you want to leave, that's actually the time that we double down on our work together. That's the time where the projections and the triggers and the wounds are all having a field day. And you're going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, why am I here? I don't want to be here. I want to leave. But then what if that happens every single time it gets really hard, you leave? Every single time you lift something hard at the gym, you leave the gym. Every single time you get to the point in the marathon where it's like, oof, I don't think I can keep going, you just walk off. Every single time you're dating, you're about to get married and you're going through a rough patch and you're like, you know what? I'm out. I gotta go. Your teenager is showing up in a way you've never seen them show up before. And you're going, oh my gosh, this is really hard to parent this teenager. You're like, I'm out. I'm not going to parent anymore. Sorry. Too much. Too much. It's too much. This is where we learn to hold the pressure and responsibility. And pressure shows up whenever there is something we care about. Motherhood is pressure all the time. You have this thing, this heart that is walking outside of your body in the world, or multiple hearts if you've got multiple children. And you're like, there's so much pressure, but you don't run. You lean into it, even on the bad days. As a parent, you know that. And that's something that I do as a mentor is even when my client is having the worst day and they want to burn it all down, I still hold them at the highest level of which I can see them. I see you as the biggest version of yourself, the biggest version of yourself. even in those moments. How many people can do that in your life? Honestly, we probably don't have tons of people. I don't have, I actually do now that I've created like a very, really solid group of friends. And not coincidentally, like they're all entrepreneurs. So I can say that for a handful of people. But for most of us, I mean, that's a bit of a challenge, right? Even with our own parents. It's like, mm, it's why, like, when we go to start our businesses, our parents are like, what are you doing? What you doing? And we're like, I'm gonna build this massive. They're like, 3 years ago, you couldn't even get off the couch to go and wash some dishes. You're gonna go and build a multi-million dollar company? Okay, call me when you've got that 9 to 5, right? It's like they just know so many versions of you. Like when I started my business, my parents were like, Tiffany, what are you doing? They were like, what? This is not safe. It's not secure. It's not the stable job, blah, 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 blah. Like they didn't see, they just couldn't see it because they're seeing through their own limitations. This is what I mean by most people aren't going to be able to see you as the biggest version of themselves because they can't even do it for themselves. That's the real truth of all of this. Is when you see yourself as the biggest version of you, it's clear that your mentor can see the biggest version of you. And when you just slip out of it and forget it for a little bit, your mentor's still holding the line, still holding it. And you get to rise back up to it on the days where you feel like utter, complete garbage, crap, trash. And you're like, everything's falling apart. And your mentor's like, I'm still holding you. I still see you as this biggest version of you. And that does something to you. To have someone in your life that sees you for pure potentiality, who you are now, as well as the person that you're about to become, that is a gift. And if we could all do that as parents, that'd be amazing, right? And I do my best to hold this for my daughter, but I know that for a lot of us, our parents couldn't hold that for us because they were too caught in their own limitations. Because what they're saying isn't, I don't think you can do it. They're saying, I don't think I can do it. So that is the lens in which they're seeing this from. But I have created the impossible. So even if you come to me and you feel like you're in a really hard place, I am not suddenly like, oh, yeah, you're right. That is hard. Well, guess it's not possible for you. No, I was living off of food stamps for multiple years before I started my business. Got let go from my day job during COVID. I was doing college on Zoom and my daughter was doing kindergarten on Zoom. I'd gotten back together with her dad for, I don't know, like a year during the pandemic. And we ended up like living together. And it was, it was like worst possible, like all of the triggers from our toxic relationship came back up. All of my own mirrors and projections came back up. All of these things that I needed to learn in the time I needed to learn it came back up. And it was crazy. That's how I started my business. And before then, I was a teen single mom, right? That didn't have any understanding about money and finances. I didn't come from money. And in fact, by the time I had my daughter, I had really like messed things up in my relationships with my family. And they had also kicked me out of the house. And it was just this really messy mess that I had gotten myself in. And that I kind of found myself there realizing, oh, I have a lot to learn about myself and about how I want to be in this world and how I want to be a mother in this world and eventually how I want to be a leader in this world. So if I can do that and navigate postpartum depression and have a newborn and still be posting new makeup looks every single day because I thought that at that point I wanted to be like a makeup influencer, a makeup YouTuber, and then starting my business several years later. Like, if I can do that, I will not look at you at your worst point and not think that you can turn that around in a moment because I turned it around in a very short amount of time. I went from not having a job in the middle of a global pandemic shutdown to in 8 months, I hit six figures. In 4 years, I was surpassing $1 million. Things like that don't just happen. I've created the impossible, so I see the impossible for you. We're in a world where not a lot of people may see that for you, not because of you, but because their own limitations. Why do you think most of the world is okay with working a 9 to 5 where they only get a raise every year? Maybe. Work for years for a promotion? Maybe. Put some money into a 401k? Maybe. So that they can retire someday, maybe, and then live their lives at 65? Oh no. No. We don't want that here. So you have to believe in the extraordinary, and you have to believe in the impossible, and you have to believe in logic defying odds. You have to believe in the odds. It didn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I'm here speaking to you right now with a over $1 million business, living in this beautiful home with my daughter that I've created, this life I've created for my daughter, who we used to get food off of checks from WIC. WIC stands for Women, Infants, and Children. And they give you these checks up until your child is 5 years old that you can just cash and get free food. But you can only get what's on those checks. So my daughter still remembers a lineup of peanut butter because you would have to get everything on the checks. And I didn't really eat all that much peanut butter, but I still ate it because there was nothing else to eat sometimes. And we would eat the yogurt and we would eat the peanut butter and I would get the milk. She would drink the milk. I'm lactose intolerant. And that was our life. That was our life. And today I'm about to send her to volleyball. I'm going to pick her up from school, or actually my mom's going to pick her up from school. I'm going to pick her up from my mom's house because I'm Wednesdays, I normally do coaching calls. But this is the life that I get to live, is being able to be there for my daughter. I don't have to wait until 5 p.m. and then come home rushed and exhausted after sitting in rush hour having to cook food for my daughter and trying to figure out how to spend time with her and help her with her homework. Like, I get to be the mom who does this. And that's a beautiful thing. And I know that you want your own version of this as well, because I know that you want freedom, because that's what we're wired to have. We're wired to have freedom. So I would love to have you inside Magic Mind. Magic Mind is my year-long close proximity mastermind. It is $15,000. You can also pay in monthly installments. And this is the space where I come and be unfiltered. And it is the place that I ask of you to come raw and unfiltered as well. Because I can handle it. Everyone in the room can handle it. And I want you to have a space where you can come in and share who you are and also grow to see yourself as the biggest version of yourself. And that is also going to be ever evolving because, I mean, we're always evolving. So I want you to be in a space where everyone sees you as the biggest version of you. You begin to see yourself as the biggest version of you. You're in your power. I'm in my power. There's no hierarchy. It's equal power. And we get to create magic from that. That's what I desire inside this space. So thank you for making it to the end of this very first episode of this playlist, and there's more to come. And I'm really glad that I listened to my intuition this morning. And whatever you decide to do from here, I just wish and set the intention that the decision is made out of you seeing yourself as the biggest version of you. You don't have to be in my world in order to see that. You don't have to be mentored by me or someone else in order to see that. That's something that you get to decide. And if you decide that you can get there and that you're ready to be in a space where you will always have mentorship and mirrors may come up, but you'll know how to navigate it, and I will know how to navigate it with you. And if you have this space where you get to come in and be for an entire year, where you get to settle and you get to know that whatever happens in your business, you have somewhere that you can go for support and for feedback and for auditing and for coaching, and you have someone to help you workshop and plan all of your launches for an entire year. You have me in your corner for the emotions and the frequency and the planning and the workshopping and who you're becoming. And you go and take action and you come and plug in and you come and be reminded of who you are. And then you go and take action and you come back and you always have this sisterhood. You always have me as your mentor so that you can go and fly and go and do big things. And regardless of what happens, we'll get to come back and evaluate it together. Okay, what did you try? What worked? What didn't work? Okay, let's try this. Let's tweak this. Let's go at it again. Let's see what happens. It's you and your power. It's me and my power. It's you and your magic. It's me and my magic. It's me bringing you back to your own power and bringing you back home to yourself and co-creating, like seeing you and supporting you and co-creating with the spirit of your business. This is what it's all about. So if that excites you and you're ready for that, apply to the mastermind. I would love to have you. Thank you for being a part of this playlist. Thank you for being a part of this series, and I'll see you in the next one.